All right, hey everybody, it's me again, Demetrius, and I'm again with my wife Heather. Today we're going to be doing a flexibility assessment. So we're going to be showing you guys a few exercises or a few stretches that'll help with range of motion to help with better mobility. So with that being said, we're going to focus on some major key areas, starting from the neck all the way down to the ankle. So the key areas that we'll be looking at are, like I said, the neck, the shoulders, the trunk area, the hips, and then the ankles. So for this flexibility assessment, we'll go over a few exercises, not all, but some that I think that'll help the best and are kind of easy and convenient for those who will be able to do these at home. So the first flexibility assessment, I have my wife step forward. We're going to focus on the cervical area, so we'll be focusing on the neck. So first we'll be focusing on neck rotations. All right, so as my wife stands here, she's going to stand with good posture, head facing forward, and she's just going to slowly rotate her head. When the body stands still, slowly rotate her head to the right. I'm trying to have her chin line up directly with her shoulder. So, like I said, you want to try to face all the way to the right as far as you can, then again to the left. So with this, we're not really looking for any type of degree of motion, just looking for easy and comfort. Make sure that we're not overly stressing the neck area. All right, so good job, babe. So the next exercise that we'll do is actually lateral flexion of the neck. So with that being said, she's going to stay in that same position that she was in, and she's going to try to touch her chin to her shoulder. All right, so she's in that same posture. She's going to try to slowly, without turning her neck too much, try to slowly have her chin touch her neck. Or chin touch her shoulder, sorry about that. And that's just going to, like I said, work on that lateral flexion of the neck area. Like I said, not really looking for a real degree of motion or degree of flexibility. They're just looking for ease and comfort, make sure that we're not overly stressing the neck area. All right. So once we go on to the neck assessment, we'll then go to the shoulder assessment or assessment of the shoulders. All right. So with that being said, we'll first go over shoulder rotation. So with this, we're going to be using actually a broomstick. So I already have a broomstick, and with this exercise, my wife is going to she's going to hold the broomstick in one hand. She's going to put the broomstick behind her back, and then while she's turned, she's going to hold the broomstick with her opposite hand. So what she wants to do is she wants to slide her hands down the broomstick closely as possible to try to get her hands closely as she can. So as we turn around, she wants to be able to try to get her hands and fingertips to touch. All right. So as you see, she has a pretty good shoulder rotation there. So not really looking for a degree of flexibility there, just looking to see if the hands will touch. So the norm with that is just trying to get the fingertip to touch. So if I take the broom away and I have my wife perform that same exercise, and if she's able to touch her fingers, that means she has good range of motion in her shoulders there. Okay? All right. So the next shoulder flexibility assessment we'll have her do will actually be internal and external rotations. So with that, I'll have her lay down flat on her back. So she'll lay down flat on her back. She'll have her arm out to her side in a 90-degree angle. So with this, you want to have, like I said, really good posture. Have her arm out at 90 degrees. So as you can see there, her hands are pointing straight up. So the first exercise that we're going to do is going to be the internal rotation. All right. So with internal rotation, she's actually going to try to lay her forearm all the way back to the floor. All right. And the norm for that is anybody who has good internal rotation is able to lay their forearm all the way flat against the floor as you see here. All right. So the opposite of that, we'll be looking for that internal rotation. All right. So with internal rotation, she'll move her hand and try to face her forearm down. So the norm here is not being able to, and she want to make sure that she doesn't lift that shoulder off the ground. So we want to make sure the shoulder's staying on the ground. but she want to make sure she wants to try to get her forearm or her hand to try to touch the ground. The norm for flexibility here is about 20 degrees from the ground, so she's actually a little bit below that. So you should see that she has a good shoulder rotation, internal rotation there. All right. So those are the exercises that we have, and I'll help you out. The exercises that we have for our shoulder flexibility assessment. So thanks to my wife for being a good participant there with that. So actually now we'll be going down to the trunk. All right, so with the trunk, we're just gonna be focusing on that rotation of the trunk. So what I'll have my wife do with that exercise, she'll go back to using the broomstick to make sure that she has a good posture. She'll actually hold it behind her. All right, just to make sure that she's keeping her spine and shoulders square and make sure that she's keeping good posture. So what she wants to do is slowly rotate either to the right or to the left. What she wants to make sure that she's doing, she wants to make sure that she doesn't overcompensate and move the shoulders too much. She wants to stay square. So that's what the broomstick is for. So she actually widens her hands. She wants to try to slowly, while staying square, slowly rotate to the right and then slowly rotate to the left. All right. So this is just going to show pretty much the rotation or trunk rotation of the torso in that area. Another exercise that we'll use for the trunk will be lateral flexion. So with this exercise, she'll actually have her hands out to her side, straight down to her side, and then she'll lean either to the right or to the left, working on that lateral flexion of the trunk or torso. So with this, you really want to be able to at least get your hands down to the side of your knee to show that you have good lateral flexion of the torso. All right, so as we work up and finish up the torso area, we'll slowly go to the hips. All right, so with that being said, we'll have her work on hip extensions and hip extension and hip flexors. So for the first exercise, we'll have her do hip extensions. So we'll have her laying hip extensions, so we'll have her laying on her stomach. So with this exercise, she'll lay flat on her stomach and she'll just slowly bring her heel. All right, so she'll lay flat on her stomach. And with the hip that we're emphasizing on, she'll have her knee bent at a 90-degree angle. And she'll just try to lift that knee as high as she can off the ground. All right? We're looking for good range of motion there. Want to make sure that she doesn't move that hip too far out to the side. Want to make sure that she stays good and square. And for this, want to see a good degree of range of motion from about 20 to 90 degrees off the ground. All right? Like I said, want to make sure that knee doesn't flex out too far. So we want to come straight up and make sure that she stands good and square in a good motion pattern. All right. So next we'll flip over to hip flexors, which you'll flip over to her back. All right. So she'll have one leg out, and then one degree at 90 as well. One knee at 90 degrees as well. So she'll just look to lift that knee as far as she can off the ground while staying at 90 degrees. So once again, we want to make sure that we're maintaining good posture, good flexion there. So with this, she should be looking anywhere from 120 to 125 degrees of flexion or flexibility there. All right. So that's really going to work out the hips and let us know what kind of flexibility we have within the hips. All right. So lastly, we'll be looking at ankle dorsiflexion. So with that, I'm just going to have her simply stand in a still motion. So she's going to have her feet planted firmly on the ground. And she's just going to look to raise or point that toe off the ground as much as she can. So with her feet flat, heels flat, all right? She's going to point that toe up, all right? And try to, like I said, point her toes as high as she can off the ground, looking for a good flexibility and range of motion of the ankle there. So we want to look for about 20 degrees of dorsiflexion from where her toe is, raising it off the floor. All right. So just a quick little. So that's just a quick little fitness or flexibility assessment that would help, like I said, increase range of motion, increase strength in some of those key areas that we're looking to work on.